Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to our webinar today. We're going to talk about some higher ed SEO benchmarks. My name is Lily Tobias, and I'm an SEO specialist and creative writer here at Carnegie. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Kelsey, and I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Palita, and I'm also a content and SEO specialist here at Carnegie, and I am looking forward to reviewing all of our findings with you.
Yeah, let's get started. So, for some context, over the last year, Carnegie's SEO team worked on a benchmarking project to develop SEO benchmarks specific to the higher education industry. We collected data from Google Search Console and Google Analytics 4 for hundreds of higher ed domains, and we analyzed that data to identify traffic trends and insights at a granular level. So in this webinar today, we're going to share those benchmarks and those data insights so that you can better assess your institution's organic search performance and understand really how you stack up against those industry standards. So I'll talk about high-level insights like where your website traffic comes from, the quality of organic traffic, and then we'll dive deeper into our benchmarks and talk about the role of branded versus non-branded keywords. So first, let's talk about kind of the background, what motivated this project. At Carnegie, our client partners want to know if their website is performing well. They want to know what their organic traffic looks like and really whether or not that traffic is high quality and is resulting in users taking converting actions. So with the benchmarks we have come up with, we're able to provide that context to colleges and universities so that they can better evaluate the effectiveness of their SEO work and start to adapt their strategies accordingly. And since industry-wide organic benchmarks have been up to this point virtually non-existent, we're especially excited to bring these to the market and help institutions maximize really one of the most effective channels for connecting with prospective students, and that's organic search. So we'll start with just some kind of high-level insights and highlights. We found that there are significant opportunities for institutions to improve organic traffic by creating content or optimizing existing content for non-branded keywords, and we'll get into that more a little bit later. Another high-level insight that we'd like to share is that with new AI features in search results, we are really looking forward to seeing how that starts to shape the organic search landscape. And we do plan to explore what that looks like in future benchmarking projects. And Kelsey will also talk about that a little bit later. But for now, institutions have our SEO benchmarks in their tool belt, and they can move forward with just really a clear understanding of what good traffic looks like, how to set realistic goals based on those data-backed insights, and they'll be able to strategically update and create content that is serving prospective students and helping to really move the needle on enrollment. So we'll take a second just to kind of give an overview of our process and procedures. To complete this project, we utilized raw click impression, click-through rate or CTR, and position data from Google Search Console, GSC, for over 200 higher ed domains and subdomains. But we didn't stop at GSC. We also collected Google Analytics data for over 50 websites, and we accessed that via BigQuery. And you can find a little bit more detailed information about our process and the date ranges that we're using by downloading our benchmark white paper, which you can find on the Carnegie website. So let's get into it. We're going to start by talking about where your users come from. So your website's really your virtual campus. It might be the first point of contact for many of your prospective students and their families. And so as such, it's important to know your users well and understand how they get to your website. So we found that organic search brought in the most traffic to higher ed websites in our data set, generating nearly half of the total users. And this signals that organic search is really a powerhouse for website traffic and just underscores the importance of serving these users with good content. So now let's think about the quality of your traffic. We know your website is getting a lot of traffic from organic search, but what do we really know about the quality of that traffic? This is a really important question because not only do we want, through our SEO efforts, to gain more traffic, but we also want to ensure we're getting in front of the right audience and that we're bringing users to the site who are more engaged, who are ready to take action, who want to be there, ready to apply or convert in some sort of way. And our data shows that users from organic search are actually the most engaged audiences, making up an average of 53% of the engaged sessions across higher ed websites. And we also found that organic users boast the highest engagement rate with an average engagement rate of 61%. So the quality is also there in terms of organic traffic. All right, let's get into the benchmarks. We're really thrilled to unveil these higher education SEO benchmarks with you. These are really our most fundamental organic traffic benchmarks and can provide you with a baseline understanding of really how to gauge your website's performance, your website's organic traffic performance specifically. So just to kind of cover a couple of key takeaways here. When evaluating overall organic traffic, you should aim for a click-through rate, CTR, of 2.7%. If your site doesn't quite reach this metric, you now have an automatic goal set in place, helping to guide your next steps. And equipped with a better understanding of branded versus non-branded search queries, you can now better direct your digital marketing efforts based on your goals. Whether your goal is to, expand your institution's brand recognition across organic search, or if you're really trying to draw in new prospective students, you'll have some more guidance for those goals. So getting a little deeper into the data here, looking at overall website click-through rate. Click-through rate is an important indicator of whether or not users are clicking on your content in search results relative to how many impressions you receive. So our CTR benchmark can help you understand where you're succeeding and where you can start to turn your attention to make strategic optimizations. So we recommend that you learn from pages with a click-through rate of 2.7% or higher, and then start to apply those findings to pages that are falling within that 25th percentile range. Now we'll look at median click-through rate by position. We know that ranking higher is key to generating traffic. And while this is true across industries, we actually found that the reality is slightly more nuanced for higher education websites. And what we mean by that is that while content ranking on page 1 does have the highest overall CTR at about 3%, a strong CTR can still be achieved even if your content is ranking on pages 2, 3, 4. So really, the thing to know here is don't get too hung up on pages that are ranking in some of those lower positions. Now, one thing to note regarding this particular insight is that we collected our data during a period in which Google was still using continuous scroll. And as of June 2024, Google no longer uses the continuous scroll feature and instead have paginated results. So we are looking forward to investigating how this particular change might impact our SEO benchmarks when we embark on our next benchmarking project. So definitely stay tuned for those insights in the future. Now looking at branded versus non-branded keyword visibility and traffic. We found quite a stark difference in visibility or impressions and clicks traffic between branded and non-branded keywords on higher ed websites. Now, as a quick refresher, branded keywords are those that include your institution's name, while non-branded keywords are any of those other more broad search queries, maybe question-based queries that your website can appear for that don't include your brand name in them. So kind of with that in mind, it's really not surprising that higher ed websites have more visibility in search results for non-branded terms because there's just way more of these types of terms that a school can appear for when compared to branded terms. But interestingly, that visibility doesn't translate as smoothly into clicks or traffic. So we see that branded terms drive over half of the organic traffic to the higher ed websites in our data set. That's likely because users who search branded queries have a higher intent to click, right? Your institution, the institution they're searching for is exactly, the content that they want. So the strategic use of branded terms in your content, that includes content, at the top of the funnel, like blogs, the middle of the funnel, like your program pages, and at the bottom of the funnel, like admissions and aid, that can really help you capture and convert users. Now, if your goal is to build brand awareness and maybe reach new prospective students, targeting non-branded keywords through thought leadership and well-written, optimized program pages can really help you achieve those sorts of goals. So now we're going to talk about branded versus non-branded keyword ranking position versus click-through rate. So we took a bit of a closer look at the relationship between ranking position and click-through rate by keyword type. So branded versus non-branded again here. And just to give you a little bit more context and kind of orient you in the graphs, I want to point out that position 1, that's the top spot on the search engine results page, that's indicated in the upper left corner of the graphs, with the ranking position dropping gradually until position 50 or 60. That's roughly page 5 or 6 in search results. And the yellow dots are representing ranking position. So we see that branded keywords tend to rank higher overall, with most ranking between positions 1 and 10. So that's about within the first page of search results. And non-branded keywords, on the other hand, are falling predominantly within positions 20 to 40. That's roughly pages 2 or 4 in search results. I want to point out there's also a maroon star on each graph, and this is illustrating the median ranking position. So for branded terms, that median position is 5, and for non-branded terms, the median position is 33. So just another insight that we feel is important that this data helped to reveal is that branded terms really have the potential for higher overall CTR, which you can see on that x-axis. Branded terms can garner CTRs upward of 10%, while non-branded terms tend to have a CTR of between 1 and 2%. So what does this really mean for college and university sites? Well, although branded terms do yield a higher CTR, institutions have increased mobility in improving ranking position for non-branded terms. So in other words, while you might not see major shifts in CTR by targeting branded terms that your institution is already ranking really highly for, improving the ranking position on what we call striking distance, non-branded keywords, those are keywords, ranking within positions maybe 16 to 30. By targeting those, you can start to move the needle on your website traffic and draw in new prospective students. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kelsey.
Thank you so much, Lily. Okay, so before diving into more of our analysis, we want to take a moment and just provide some context around our data. Now, oftentimes, median and average are conflated and used interchangeably. So we just want to distinguish them so we all have a clear understanding of the terms that we're working with here. So the median represents the middle value in a sorted data set. Meanwhile, the average takes every data point into account. So it's as if you had 10 data points and then you added all of those points together and divided them by 10. That would be your average. Now, because averages can be more heavily skewed by outliers, we did opt to use the median, which is not as dramatically influenced by extreme values and thereby more accurately represents our data. Okay, so this first set of graphs outlines median impressions by position. So the graph on the left represents branded keywords, and then the chart on the right represents non-branded keywords. So essentially, we're looking for which ranking positions have the highest amount of visibility. Now, as expected for both branded and non-branded keywords, um, the impressions for those are both higher in positions 1 through 10. Now, this is not entirely surprising, but it is always helpful to confirm that the sites that rank on the first search engine result page can expect greater organic visibility. However, when we compare these two graphs, there is a stark difference between the median number of impressions for branded and non-branded terms. So overall, non-branded queries have significantly higher impressions across all positions. For example, branded keywords in positions 1 through 10 receive about 650,000 impressions, while non-branded keywords receive over 38 million. So what does this tell us? It suggests that prospective students are more likely to encounter your institution's website when they search for non-branded keywords. So this means that strategically targeting non-branded keywords throughout your website's content is essential to build brand awareness. And through this increased awareness, you can build trust with your users. All right, on this next slide, our graphs detail median clicks by positions for branded and non-branded terms. And this reveals a similar trend as the previous slide. So the first trend is that both branded and non-branded keywords that rank in the top 10 or even the top 20 positions receive the most organic traffic. And then the second trend is that much like organic impressions, organic clicks for non-branded keywords drastically outpace the clicks for branded keywords. Now, since non-branded keywords typically have a much higher monthly search volume, this makes sense. And while the difference may not be as staggering as the variance of impressions, it is noteworthy. Now, as we look to the drop-off in organic traffic from the first page to the second page, non-branded queries experience a much sharper decline in traffic when they wind up ranking on or in positions 10 through 20 than branded queries. So the more gradual decrease in traffic suggests that prospective students searching branded terms are more intentional and more willing to travel further into the search result pages to find what they need. But overall, the key takeaway is the higher your rankings, the more clicks you gain, especially when incorporating non-branded keywords. All right, so then this final set of graphs details the median CTR by position. So as the left graph shows, branded keywords have a much higher CTR across all positions than non-branded queries. The branded CTR for positions 1 through 10 hovers at about 16.5%, which is nearly 4 times the non-branded CTR of 3.6%. Now, this indicates that users searching branded terms have a much higher level of intentionality and brand awareness and are far more likely to click through to your institution's site. But alternatively, the lower CTR for non-branded terms reiterates the fact that the organic search landscape for these keywords is far more competitive than that of branded search. So really the best way to improve your institution's non-branded CTR is to rank high. All right, so all of this data is great, but how do we act upon it? How can we apply it to our higher ed websites? So to help, we've laid out 3 different use cases for common occurrences and provided some guidance on how we can mitigate these issues. So starting with use case number 1, the CTR for content targeting branded keywords is below the industry benchmark. So if your branded CTR is below our benchmark of 13%, then it's best to direct your focus to the ranking position. So the average ranking position for branded keywords is position 5. So if your content is ranking lower than position 5, then you may need to work on boosting your ranking position to see meaningful changes in traffic and in your CTR. So we recommend doing this through ensuring that your target branded keywords are seamlessly woven into your on-page content, such as header tags and body copy. Now, if your content does rank in position 5 or higher, then the culprit for your low CTR could be hiding elsewhere. And we recommend checking your content's title tag and meta description since it can usually impact the student's first impression of your content, as well as their willingness to click through to your site. All right, moving on to use case number 2. The CTR for content targeting non-branded keywords is below the industry benchmark. So if you're writing a web page and you're targeting non-branded queries, but the page's CTR is falling below that 0.9% benchmark, then it's best to reconsider your keyword strategy. Chances are your current content does not incorporate proper search queries, and that is resulting in a low ranking and a lower CTR for those target keywords. So your first step is to perform keyword research to find the terms that most closely align with the purpose of your page and that also have a healthy search volume. Then strategically incorporate them into header tags, body copy, and the metadata that appears on the search engine result page. Now, it can be more difficult to rank within the top 10 or even the top 20 ranking positions for these competitive terms. However, there is still organic traffic and visibility to be gained if you're on the 3rd, 4th, or even the 5th page. All right, use case number 3. The CTR for a page is significantly higher than the established benchmark. So if the CTR for a web page is trending far above that 2.7% benchmark, then it actually can be a signal to investigate the page's performance further. A high CTR, though it may appear promising, can actually suggest that your content is only ranking for branded keywords. And that means that your content really is only reaching prospective students who already know about your institution. So to remedy this, we recommend conducting keyword research to find the non-branded keywords that best fit your page's purpose and the intended audience, and then weave them into your content. Okay, now directing our focus to the impact of AI overviews. In the spring of 2024, Google started rolling out what's called artificial intelligence overviews, which has pretty drastically altered the search landscape. So essentially, AI overviews aim to improve user experience by drawing relevant information from a series of websites and then really wrapping it up into one succinct answer. And this means that users don't have to go searching to 3 or 4 websites to find the information that they're looking for. Now, our data was collected before the release of AI Overview, and currently there really isn't much data available to accurately measure how AI overviews are impacting organic search. But we do expect there to be changes to SEO performance and future benchmarks. So we are being proactive, and Carnegie is working to measure and analyze how these AI features may impact SEO. So stay tuned for our 2025 report. Okay. So now that you are all familiar with our SEO benchmarks, you are ready to take all that you've learned and begin optimizing your content and measuring your site's performance. Now, as you begin optimizing, remember that SEO is a long-term strategy. So be patient and stay consistent. It will pay off in the long run. Now, if you need help, we have a series of resources linked within the white paper that you can consult. And of course, we always encourage you to reach out to Carnegie's content and SEO team for more personalized support in optimizing your institution's site. So thank you all for your time and best of luck on your optimization efforts.